Hello friends, and welcome to my video on how to avoid side effects when using Minoxidil. To give you a backstory on me, I used Minoxidil to help me grow this lovely beard, but unfortunately I didn't really respect the chemical and the side effects it could cause, and I didn't take the necessary precautions, and I experienced side effects. Most notably, lots of ectopic heartbeats, which is like a skipped heartbeat that you feel in your chest. I got them like chronically, as well as abnormal heart rate. In this video, I'm going to go through the things that I wish I had done that could have potentially avoided me from experiencing these side effects, and you have a chance to learn from my mistakes. Of course, I am not a doctor, I am just some guy on YouTube, so consult your doctor and all that, okay? Let's get into the first step. So, first off, track your heart rate. The number one side effect from Minoxidil that we're trying to avoid is the fact that it could mess with your heart, right? I've seen talk of it giving people tachycardia and things like that. Now, to get ahead of that, I suggest that you track your heart rate. You can either use your phone. I have like a little heart rate tracker there. You press your finger on it and it gives you your heart rate. But what I suggest that you should do is get a heart rate tracker that just does it passively, like a Whoop band or an Apple Watch. They track your heart rate and you can keep an eye on it and make sure that if something happens to your resting heart rate, let's say it just spikes up for no reason, potentially Minoxidil is having a negative effect on you and you should consider stopping using Minoxidil. Step number 2 is watch out for body hair growth that is not localized to where you're putting the Minoxidil. For me, I was putting Minoxidil on my beard, right? But I started noticing after a few months that I was getting body hair on my chest, my eyebrows were coming in thicker, my head hair was coming in thicker. This should have been a sign that the Minoxidil was becoming systemic and that I should slow down. But I didn't listen, like I said, I didn't respect the chemical and the damage it could cause. If it is causing systemic hair growth across your body, that means it's just in your bloodstream, going to all your organs, going to your heart, going to your brain, and it's probably doing all the harm it can do. And you need to slow down. You need to slow down using the Minoxidil because when it's systemic, so when you're using it too much, that's when the side effects are going to present themselves. When it's localized and you're only experiencing hair growth where you put it, that's when you're going to have the best risk to reward ratio. Okay? Next step. Why has it gone to a blank slide? Use the minimum effective dose. Okay? So, quick tip, first off, use the Rogaine foam. I know a lot of people, you see them on YouTube, they use the oil, right? They use the oil with the pipette. You can see it in the picture there on the left. The problem with this is the oil is a liquid. It gets everywhere. It gets all over your hands. It gets in your mouth. It drips everywhere. It's a nightmare to deal with compared to the foam. The foam, it kind of stays where you put it because it's a foam. It's not a liquid. And you can just kind of like rub it in where you need it. It's way easier to use less. And it's way easier to not get it everywhere. And it's important because for me, I used the foam, but I used loads of it. What you should do is just use the minimum amount that you can to cover the target area. And that way you're going to avoid Minoxidil becoming systemic and you're going to keep it localized, which, like I said, is what we want. That topic is going to come up a lot in this video, just keeping it localized, helping to stop it from going systemic, okay? So, next step. Assess every 3 months. So, I believe after 3 months, you should have an indication of whether it's gonna work for you. You're either gonna have a lot of vellus hairs or you're just gonna have some decent amount of hair growth after 3 months if you are responsive to Minoxidil. What I don't suggest is that if you haven't experienced anywhere near you're not getting any signs, no vellus hairs or anything after 3 months. You just might not be genetically predisposed to developing that beard. And the risk, I see people on YouTube and their answer to this is, I'm going to use more minoxidil, or I'm going to use it for longer, I'm going to use it for years. I don't think this is what you should do. I think the risk to reward is skewed negatively when you do this. Unfortunately, that's just the reality of it. After 3 months, you're going to have a good indication of if your beard hair follicles are sensitive to minoxidil. And to the next slide. Okay, this is written on the packet. This is what everyone tells you. Wash it off every 1 to 2 hours after use. I didn't do this. It's stupid, I know. I didn't do this, and I don't think a lot of people using minoxidil are actually doing this. Because you're putting minoxidil on before work. Do you really have time? If you really got like an hour to 2 hours before you get to work that you can wash it off? For me, I didn't. So most of the time, I didn't wash it off. I just left it on. And I wish I didn't, because potentially if I'd have washed it off, I would have had less exposure to the chemical, it would have been less systemic, and I wouldn't have had the side effects. So, wash it off. Next thing is, if you notice you are sensitive to minoxidil, you are getting this body hair growth in areas where you're not applying it, you just seem to be sensitive to it, you're maybe a hyper responder. For me, I responded really well. People mentioned on my transformation video, like, you were a big responder. If you are that person and you're noticing these systemic effects, maybe switch to using minoxidil once a day, or lowering the dose, lowering your exposure, reducing the chance of it being systemic. Again, reducing the chance of side effects. And for my last thing, be careful if you have children or pets, right? Because if you're putting minoxidil on your face and it's all over your hands, you know, this is a potentially very harmful chemical, and what could be a small dose for you could be a massive dose for your child or your pet. Let's say you're swaddling your child, or you've picked up your pet, your cat, and you've got minoxidil on your hands. You have to be very careful, okay? Because, like I said, it could be a hyperdose. You could accidentally expose your child or your cat to a hyperdose of minoxidil, and it could fuck them up irreparably, okay? So that's the end of the video, I believe. Yep, that's my last step. I just wanted a condensed, quick video of all the mitigating steps that you can take to try and avoid the side effects that I got, right? And thank you very much for watching. Hopefully have more videos out soon, and be making more videos regarding self-improvement and all things in that regard. Okay, thank you very much for watching, and I love you. Mwah. Hey, baby. Yeah. Bonjour.